Hey guys, Dave with Moneyology here. Hope everyone is having a great Monday. This is Explosive Monday, the uranium sector review for June 24th, 2019. So taking a look at the URA ETF from a monthly perspective, here we have this bullish wedge here, but we haven't yet broken out, but we're very close. We're consolidating, massive consolidation below the 50 RSI. This is a chart since 2011. So you can see that since 2017 we've been in this downtrend, but at some point it's going to break, and it's going to break very nicely to the upside. Here's the weekly perspective. So this is since middle of 2014 as well. Same type of wedge, but notice here momentum has already broken out, and now we're just fighting to break through the 50 RSI, and that will serve. It has served as some resistance, but I think this time around it's gonna break to the upside. And here's one of the reasons why. Notice when we were at this trend line in times past, we already were in positive momentum with PPO here firmly above zero. And so there wasn't enough momentum to carry it through. Whereas here, we're just crossing to the positive trajectory with the moving averages. So now there's a lot more momentum and much more built-in energy to be able to break to the upside. And sure enough, we have evidence with what's taking place in RSI. So I believe that this is setting up for an incredible move that'll probably happen within the next couple weeks. And so I'll show you some reasons why. Here's the daily. We pulled back some here off the 200-week moving average, 200-week moving average. But I think that, or rather, day moving average. But we're going to find support right over here, back testing that 61 RSI level, and then I think we're going to push higher towards that 1330 level. Here's the hourly chart. It shows you kind of how that pullback looks like. It's probably going to find support around that 50 RSI level. Might fill this gap here at 12, so there might be some additional downside in the next coming days. But sooner rather than later, uranium's setting up for a really nice move to the upside. Here's the Uranium Participation Corp, which kind of tracks the price of uranium on a weekly. So we kind of double bottomed here at 410 with slightly positive divergence. So this should probably serve as support, and if it holds, then this likely indication that the uranium price wants to move higher. So without further ado, let's take a look at the watch list that I have here, starting, and this is in alphabetical order, and again, these are all weekly perspectives, and I changed a couple of things. The moving averages that I'm going to be using are the 13 and 26 week moving averages. I kind of cleaned up the charts. I removed the Bollinger Bands, and I just wanted to simplify things as much as possible. So here's ALX uranium. Again, similar to the URA chart, bullish wedge here. And notice, despite price going lower and lower and lower, momentum just keeps building higher highs and higher lows. And at some point, I think this is going to break to the upside, and it's going to make a very nice move immediately towards 10 cents. And then thereafter, I think there's some really nice upside. Anfield Energy, another one that's building higher highs and higher lows in terms of momentum. It's consolidating here, and it needs to hold this 20 level on a weekly close. You don't want to break down below this level because there's a lot of downside here potentially. But it is below the 13 and 26 week moving averages. It needs to recapture that very, very soon. I think it will, but we'll see what happens. And if it does, then I think the breakthrough will be towards that 45 to 50 cent level. API.CA Energy, this one is it's created a very beautiful rounded bottom, rounded base here, coinciding with that 13 26 convergence of the moving averages, and now it's kind of flagging, bullish flag. So it needs to hold this 30 cent level, and I think eventually it breaks higher. But if it doesn't hold this level, then it can move lower, possibly anywhere all the way down to 10 cents. Don't think that's going to happen, but you know, it's showing some considerable indecision. And with momentum below the 50 RSI, it suggests that there could be more price weakness ahead. Azincourt Uranium, another one in this bullish wedge, but look at the volume that's starting to create, and typically when volume picks up, that's suggesting that price either goes higher or lower. It's consolidating here below the 50 RSI level, and based on some fundamental developments, I expect price to move to the upside, but I am open to the possibility of a breakdown below here. So it needs to hold these levels, preferably break above this wedge because there's not much more room to go here. Blue Sky Uranium. This one here is been in a wedge since 2016. We've back tested here. Now we're starting to break out. Now there is still upside resistance with the 26 and 30, 13 and 26 moving averages right above about 16-cent level. But here we bounced off of support where we found support in times past, and we need to break above that 50 level, and you're going to see a very, very nice run to the upside. My first initial price target is at 32.50, and when I say initial, this is from a weekly perspective. So if you look in our trading from a daily, that's going to be a different perspective in terms of targets. Here's Cameco, the major player in the URA ETF. It's found support here at the $10 range, and this is the same level as it found support in times past. And so now it needs to break above these two moving averages and for it to move higher. Obviously there's a downtrend still. It needs to break through. I actually think it will do it this time around, but because look at the momentum that's being built. It still has a tremendous amount of pent-up energy, and it needs to move higher. Alaska. This one's actually interesting because over last year this has been doing nothing but going lower and lower, but it's found a bottom here in RSI. Coincided with that RSI level of support last time it really ran, and so now it's building some momentum, and it looks like it wants to break out here, and I think this can make a run towards that 45-cent level very soon, which would represent a very nice gain from these prices. DPLO, it's not showing signs of life right now, so frankly, if you're buying from a fundamental perspective, great, but from a technical perspective, there's not much to see here. Denison Mines is interesting. It's built this triangular pennant here, and it's gonna squeeze one way or the other very soon. Now, right now, it's above the 50 RSI. Should it hold there, the longer it holds above 50, the more likely this breaks to the upside. You see PPO has moved above 0, and so I think it's setting up for a very nice move towards 70 cents very soon. Encore, this is one of my favorite charts of the watch list. And I just like this rounded bottom followed by consolidation. This is kind of like a cup and handle, and it shook out some longs here below the 13 and 26 moving average, but it's still in a bullish flag formation on RSI, and it's finding some very, very solid support. PPO is firmly below 0, but it's starting to move in the positive direction. Look at the accumulation that's been taking place here. That's very positive distribution when price is not moving much lower, and yet we've got tons of accumulation. Obviously, we've corrected quite a bit from 21 cents to 10. That's been a painful ride to the downside. But on the other hand, it's been a great opportunity to add to one's positions if you did so. And by the way, I fully expect Uranium Energy to Encore Energy rather to not only to recapture its highs from earlier this year in April, but I expect it to surpass it. And I expect this particular name to be at over $1 at some point in the uranium bull market. So very, very significant upside from these prices. Your energy fuels, this one is interesting. It needs to hold. It needs to hold the 50 level. It broke to the upside, and now it's back testing the 50 level of RSI. It cannot break. If it breaks this 13 the moving average support, then I think we head back lower towards the bottom level here. But I think that's not as likely because PPO is curling towards a break above 0. I think we're going to consolidate here for a few days and then pop above 350. If you don't currently own this position, above 350 represents a great risk reward. It breaks 350. I think this goes towards $10 in a bull market. Fission 3.0. I really like the makings of this chart. We've been adding as much as we possibly can in this name without just overloading a very low traded position. But just look at the setup here. It's just very, very nice bullish wedge. We broke out of it. Now we're consolidating. And meanwhile, just look at PPO just building and building and building and building and building. Boom. just broke above zero. You've got the crossover here, and as soon as it breaks 10 cents, that's when you're going to see volume pick up, and that's when you can see a very sharp spike towards that 25-cent level. There's a lot of not a lot, but there's certainly news expected on drilling in the coming days and weeks, and so if it's positive, you can see a really nice spike to the upside. Fission uranium, this one's just been consolidating here, and not much to see until we break that, frankly, this downtrend. But a lot of fundamental upside in the name, but nothing really from a technical standpoint. Forces Metals, another similar type of bullish wedge formation, finding support here at that 38 level where it's found support in times past. And so I think that this is a great level to be adding or initiating a position long. First target would be that 27.50, and then much higher thereafter. Forum Energy, beautiful formation here after breaking out of a downtrend. We saw a massive break. We've consolidated in a bullish flag formation, and now we're setting up at having back tested the 50 RSI for a move higher. Watch for the break above 6 cents to confirm, but I think this is going to the teens in the not too distant future. Global Atomic, beautiful looking chart. We broke out of this triangular pennant, and now we've consolidated here. We broke out above 50, we back tested, another bullish flag, and we're just building higher highs and higher lows, and I think this is setting up for a move again higher, and I think eventually this sees well above $1. And look again at the accumulation of glow. Now GovEx uranium, beautiful cup and handle here, and this is kind of a bullish wedge that it's going to squeeze out from very soon, and it should squeeze out to the upside, but it might take a couple more weeks because PPO is still not, I don't know if it necessarily bottomed, but it's certainly not curling to the upside quite yet. Greenland Minerals and Energy, one of our favorites in this particular sector, just simply from a technical standpoint. This is going to break out from these levels very soon and target that 16-cent level. I can see it happening in one day on a massive volume spike, so keep an eye on this one. If it breaks this level, that's your target initially, and then hopefully consolidates here, followed by potential future upside. Now look at this, just consistent accumulation, and that's definitely what you want to see, especially in a downtrend. So, whereas a lot of folks have been selling here, more established players were buying, and now they're reaping the rewards of the upside. Now ISO Energy, another interesting company. It's been just consolidating here between 40 and 60, and it looks like it wants to break back above that 50 RSI level and make a run towards 60. I think that's going to certainly happen in the next couple weeks. Where I get excited is what happens after 60. If it can break above those levels, then we're talking well above $1. Laramide Resources, this is very nicely consolidating above the breakout line on RSI. So whereas the price action might not be so appealing, for me, RSI and momentum is far more important. If it can hold these levels, I can see an eventual spike, a very nice one-day 10-20% move to the upside, gets us back above this trend line and well on its way towards a retest of the 74 level. Next Gen Energy, another similar name to Sky Harbor and Fission. These are just really high quality fundamental assets that are just have been boring, and at some point they're going to run really hard, but until it happens, this is just range bound between 150 and 210, but this is a great area to be adding long. You've got your stop loss around that 135, so in case it goes lower, your downside is limited. Your upside at a minimum is to 210, which is fairly nice, and your downside is much smaller, so the risk reward is a really nice one. And notice PPO is curling above zero. You're starting to get accumulation, and my probability is well above 50% that this is moving higher towards that 210 zone. Paladin Energy, another one of these wedges that at some point is going to pop and it's going to run hard. Notice you're just building continued directional move above crossing zero on the PPO, and at some point it's just going to pop, and good luck to whomever owns it at that time. Plateau Energy, this one has been really nice. Look, it broke out of this downtrend. It's got it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 weeks in a row of positive price action, and this is what it does. It just consolidates, pops, consolidates, pops, and so on and so forth. We're having this pop right now. I could see this move towards well above $1. If it breaks 50, you're going to see a very, very nice move to the upside. Pure Point Uranium, another one that's been just consolidating. Now you've got kind of a bullish flag over here, and it's setting up for a move above 50, and that's going to take it to 10 cents. So even from 7 to 10, that's a very nice move. And you got PPO starting to curl above 0. I'm liking this for a move above towards 15. So that's my first price target here, and then if it can break thereafter, there's some substantial upside ahead. Sky Harbor, previously mentioned, just beautiful consolidation, but very boring, and so folks are just ignoring this until they see proof of the uranium space breaking out. But until that happens, just range bound between basically 30 cents and 55. Texas Minerals, this is a beautiful chart patterns. Now this has some nuclear uranium minerals here, but it's largely, this particular move has largely been tied to rare earth metals in the trade war. So you're going to expect a lot of volatility. Perhaps you go from here to here based on trade war rumors, and then when those rumors die down or prove to be false, then you drop substantially. But you're going to see, I want to see some solid consolidation between 26 and 34 range here for a while before moving higher. But it's got some really good resources underneath the ground, and so the upside here for this particular name is really nice. One thing I will point out, this is a great case in point to not chasing a name. So if you bought here at 30, great, with a stop loss below, that's fine. But if you bought here, this is the problem with chasing momentum names. You're gonna as soon as there's a pullback, you're gonna get really badly hurt. And so what I do when I look at momentum names is you want to look at daily and hourly charts, not only weekly, and look for positive divergences and stay away from negative divergences. There was a negative divergence on TMRC on the daily when it went from 44 to 56. Momentum was higher here at 44 than at 56. That was your sign that if you were still long, to get out over here, or certainly trim your position. And because when it breaks, that's when the traders get out, and that's when you see these massive flush downs. But so far, it's found support at the 50 RSI. Let's see if this support can hold. I think it's just going to consolidate here for a while. UEX Corp, right now it's just consolidating in this bullish wedge pattern. It needs to squeeze out of this wedge very soon. It frankly has nowhere to go, so it's either going to go up or down. And to the downside, there's support at 14. To the upside, it needs to break 18 cents for a run towards that 40-cent range. Your Energy, a beautiful looking rounded base for 3 years. We broke out of that. We're consolidating, and now we're kind of double topping here. But so long as we're above that 61 level of RSI, I fully expect that this is going to break at some point above $1 and then break and make a run. I've mentioned that I think this could see above $10 in the not too distant future. Here's Uranium Energy. This one broke out of its downtrend, consolidating here, and if this can break above its moving averages right above, serving as resistance, this is going to make a move towards that 190 range, but it needs to break back above that 50 RSI price level soon. Finally, Western Uranium. This one is just very volatile, one of the most volatile names in the space. Rounded bottom breakout. You've been consolidating here in this kind of bull flag. Above 50, that's positive. It needs to backtest this 50 RSI level. It coincides with the backtest of this upper range. If it can hold that level, there's a lot of support with the 26 and the 13-week moving averages. So long as it stays, frankly, above 125, I'm confident that this is going to make a move back towards that 325 level in the not too distant future. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Appreciate the support and the retweets. And don't forget to follow us if you haven't already done so. Twitter, StockTwits, and YouTube at Moneyology. And stay tuned for our website that's launching in July, moneyology.com. Thank you, and have yourselves a great week.